From the home of American golf, broadcasting from 24 Golf Studios, right here in legendary Pinehurst, North Carolina, this is more than a golf podcast. It's where the love of the game meets the challenges, the stories, the moments that shape who we are. From tour pros to top instructors to influencers and everyday legends. Get ready for real conversations about golf, life, and everything that lies in between. It's not just about chasing that perfect swing, it's about finding purpose in the pursuit. This is Inside the Swing. I am your host, Jeremy Lee. Are you ready? Let's tee it up. Welcome back to Inside the Swing. I'm your host, Jeremy Lee, and I'm very excited to have another great guest for you this week, Mr. Bruce Chalas from Boston University, who is the women's golf coach. Bruce, it is fantastic to have you on the show.
Jeremy, thank you very much for having me. I appreciate the invite. And this is my first time to 20 Fore Golf. What a fabulous facility.
Yeah, thank you so much. We really tried to give the Pinehurst area in a really high quality practice facility, indoor golf facility, and I think we're getting closer to achieving that goal.
And am I correct? You're open 24/7, 365?
Yeah, that's the best thing about it.
Fabulous.
It's just, sometimes people just don't have daytime hours to practice. And nor do they want to practice in 90-degree heat either. So it's been a joy. TrackMan technology, obviously, and we've built it to about 80 members so far, and hopefully getting to that 200 mark, which is our goal coming up. But it gives me opportunity. Obviously, we built this great studio here in 24 Golf. And so if you're out there and you're visiting the Pinehurst area and you ever want to come visit, please come visit. You can play golf here, see the studio, and maybe some of our guests will be here as well and you can meet them. But it's so great to have you, man. You've been at Boston University a long time. You're a Pinehurst native, so I love to jump into that and kind of learn how that all transpired. So I'm sure people are like, Boston University, Pinehurst, how does that work? But yeah, first let's start. Give me a little bit of history of you and you in the game and how'd you get started and all that fun stuff.
I grew up in Boston, just outside the city of Boston. Actually, I lived a couple of blocks from BU until I was 10 years old, and my family moved to the country. And when we moved to the country, moved to a small mill town called Millis, about 45 minutes outside of Boston. They built a municipal golf course a few miles from the house. And at the time I was 11 years old, built the golf course. My mother drove me to the golf course when they opened. I thought I could want to be a caddy, didn't know anything about golf, but it sounded appealing and looked appealing. So she drove me the first day at 8 o'clock in the morning, picked me up at 5 o'clock that night. I didn't get out. I didn't get a job.
That's amazing.
She drove me day 2 and day 3. The same thing happened the first 3 days. So after 3 days, my mother said, how much money have you made in 3 days? I said, well, I haven't made anything, Mom. I haven't even gotten out, but I like what I see. This golf course, this green, and I watched the grass being cut. And a lot of different technology with the mowers in those days, but the grass flying, and the golf pro wearing a emerald green 3-button-down alpaca sweater, sleeves rolled up, name in the McGregor golf bag. That's for me, Mom. I like it. She said, well, I'm not going to bring you anymore. You've been there 3 days. You haven't made any money, and if you want to go, you'll have to ride your bike. Day 4, I'm on my Schwinn bike, and wearing my new PF Flyers, which I was very proud of. My white socks with the red and blue top. But I did that for 42 straight days. Now, 42 straight days. I rode my bike. I sat on the bench. Sometimes I might push the bench and back with the overhang when it was raining. I went 42 straight days, 8 to 5, never missed a day, didn't make any money, but loved it. Finally, on day 43, I got out and shagged some balls. But I like to tell that story because I wasn't discouraged at all in 42 days. I like golf. Yeah. I like what I saw. And I was just learning how to play the game then, but I was intrigued by what I saw. And even though I wasn't getting out the first 42 days, I kept telling myself, well, tomorrow's my day. Mm-hmm. Tomorrow's my day. I've actually used that lesson in my life a lot, in my golf career, my business, my family. Maybe we have ups and downs in life, and when it doesn't always go your way, tomorrow, that's my day. Tomorrow will be my day. It's really served me well for for all these years.
Yeah, I bet it has. So how old were you when you first picked up the game?
I picked up the game when I was 8 years old. At that time, I was at Glenelg, and I went to be the caddy. I ended up quickly got my way into the bag room, working in the bag room.
Yep.
And I actually worked in the pro shop from age 12 until age 19, all through junior high school, and college. That's where I spent my summers. Opened the shop at 6 a.m. and worked until 6 p.m. and then went out and played for a couple of hours with the pro. That's how I learned how to play the game. I was lucky enough to have some good instruction from the pro there at the time, Charlie Shepard. He actually was invited to 2 Masters in his career. So I lucked out to have a very good instructor in teaching me the game and how to play. I graduated Millis High School, went to Babson College, graduated Babson, marketing and management major, captain of the golf team the last 2 years. Was inducted in the Hall of Fame a few years ago.
Oh, congrats!
But, thank you. But Babson was Babson. I learned in those days combining business and golf. Mm-hmm. What a great combination! It's something that I, if I have a message for now, and with the women at Boston University, who are starting my 18th year there, but I do tell them, especially the freshmen, Golf 101 is as important as any course that you'll take here, especially being a young woman, getting a great education, and knowing and playing golf. You put those together. The networking will be just fantastic when you leave school. Yeah. Many of them still stay in touch with me, and I get many calls during the year. Bruce, you won't believe it. I've been promoted. I'm getting new positions in the company, and a lot of it's because of the golf interaction that they have within the company. So golf it's a lifelong. Great game to play competitively for fun. Use it in business. It's a great activity.
Yeah, no, that is great to know because, if you think about women in business, I mean, women, obviously have come a long way in, 50 or 60 years.
Oh, sure.
Back in the day, in the 60s, they were housewives and now they're women professional or, in my family, she's the breadwinner. And so, it's amazing to see that. And she would say the same thing. It's like, when a female can play good golf or play really good golf, that brings a lot of attention, and people respect that. And because everybody knows, all the men know how hard this game is, and we can't ever achieve. And then for one of your players, who I'm sure are elite players that play at Boston University, go out there and not only do have a great education at Boston University, they probably handle themselves well. You seem like a good guy. You teach a lot of character.
Of course.
And that's, I think that is a huge thing. But also then you go out there and you show them up. Man, that's a fantastic way to grow in business.
Women's golf has changed so much. Collegiate golf on the college side with women, the quality of play in the last 10 years and the last 5 years has improved at an incredibly rapid pace. Mm-hmm. It's great to see. It's fantastic to see. But I think a lot of young women come up know that golf is an appealing game. They like to play. They like to play competitively. And as we mentioned, if you're going into business, I mean, if you don't play golf, you don't get invited to the outings, to the meetings at the golf course. You're really on the outside. And I think many women have identified that over the years, and they want to be in the inside, making decisions and being the decision makers. Again, golf, fantastic in that area, fabulous in that area.
Yeah, and so you've been with Boston University for 18 years now.
Yes.
Which is an amazing career. Congrats on that.
Thank you.
How long have you been in Pinehurst and going back and forth as the coach?
My wife and I moved to Pinehurst 16 years ago. We moved to Pinehurst. We wanted our kids are grown up and out of the house and on their own with their own families and careers. And we wanted just a change of pace. The cold weathers we weren't a big fan of. And we looked at each other and said, gee, the kids on here, we want to make a change in the cold weather. Where do you want to go? We both agreed, said, let's go to Pinehurst. Yeah. And we didn't really know too many people down here, but we packed a car and came down 16 years ago, and we've been here since. So I live here full time. I commute back and forth to do the job in Boston, which I enjoy coaching. I have fun. It's a lot of fun. We've had a lot of success. We've had some great teams, had a lot of great players, much success in the last 17 years. So I still, I'm going to do it for quite a while. I enjoy it.
No, I love that. And they don't mind it? Boston University's?
Well, once in a while it comes up where I live, but my only response is there are 24 teams at BU.
Yep.
And academically speaking, for the last 10 years, every semester, the golf team is either 1 or 2 for GPA.
Oh.
375 last semester, 372 in the fall. Typically, we're a 365, 380 team. So we typically we're 1 or 2, and most of the time we're 1 in terms of GPA.
Yeah.
In terms of competitiveness, the last 10 years of our conference championship, which is always our big tournament because if we win that, we get to the NCAAs.
Yep.
But in the last 10 years, we've won 3 times. We finished second 7 times. So
amazing.
We've got a nice record of 1 or 2, maybe too many second places, but
that's okay.
Always striving for first place. And I would say I think we've won 16 tournaments in 10 years, in the last 10 years or so, and 21 individual titles. So we're very competitive in the golf course. We're competitive in the classroom for sure, and we present ourselves superb on campus. Many times our administration will ask us to speak to boosters, donors, individuals of high-profile campus, so we might play around to golf with them when they're in town. We may attend a meeting or function with them, so I like to think that our team is very proud. So to go back to your question, they don't mind. I think the results are pretty good.
Yeah, I always say, it doesn't really matter how you do your job. If you do it well, not a lot of people question your methods. Interesting about our team in the last, I would say in the last 12 years, we've pretty much been an all-international team. Most of our players come from literally all over the world. In recent years, we've had 4 players from Europe, a lot of players from different Asian countries, Japan, China, Thailand, South Korea, lots of international players from around the world. BU itself, the undergraduate population, 25% of it is international. So we kind of line up with the demographics of school there. So we're able to get the BU brand name out there in golf circles. Yep.
With much success. Many of the players come to school and they major in business. They go to the Questrom School of Business and major in business. And BU has a fabulous worldwide cachet in the business world, and again, combining it with golf, it's a great mix.
Yeah. So, for what conference are you guys in?
We're in the Patriot League.
You're in the Patriot League. So, is Boston private? Is it a private school?
Yes, yeah, it's a private school. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So it's a private school. So your academic standards must be through the chart.
Academics are high. They've just the last 10 years or so, they've just gone sky high. SAT average is 1430. ACT is 30. Those are really high averages.
Holy cow! Yeah.
Our golf team, when I started 17 years ago, we had 2 players that could break 100, and right now to play on the team, you've got to shoot between 72 and 75, 76 in that area.
Oh wow!
To be able to travel on the team. So we've really improved the competitiveness of the team quite a bit. We only had 1 scholarship when I started. Now we have 5 scholarships. Beautiful. So we've made some great strides. We come to Pinehurst every year. We spend on our spring break. We come down for 9 or 10 days every year. The girls love coming to Pinehurst.
I bet they do.
With all the practice facilities, the golf courses. Yeah. It's a fabulous way for us to be able to train and get ready for the spring season. Yeah, it's always the highlight of the Pinehurst trip. I bet. And I love it because it's a home game.
Yeah, and with most of them being international.
Yep.
That's, even more exciting because you're getting to go across the United States. You're getting to see great golf courses, which I assume that you guys, the Northeast has fantastic golf courses. And I assume that you guys get to play some really nice tracks up there.
Yeah, we a lot of good golf courses, as you say, up there. Surprisingly, when the recruits come to campus, I'm always, I want to be straight on and straight up with them. Our big challenge is that we're in Boston, a lot of bad weather and a lot of snow. So I will tell the recruits, you will not hit a golf ball in Boston off of grass after October the rest of the year. It's quite a statement. We never, we have a very nice indoor facility on campus, which we've developed. We have a couple of local driving ranges with heated bays and covering for the bad weather, but in terms of playing golf in the springtime, it doesn't happen. There are no golf courses up there. So consequently, we're in Pinehurst for our 10-day trip. We have a robust travel schedule. We play 4 tournaments in the fall and 5 in the spring, and all our travel is in the Mid-Atlantic states, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida. But it takes a different student that wants to come to college and play golf in that environment.
Do you think it's harder to recruit because of that? Top echelon players? I
actually think it's all coaches, we all have our different recruiting styles. I actually think it's an advantage. I think I have less competition that way. The kind of player that we get at BU might be someone that probably unranked, probably an unranked player, especially if they're an international player.
Yep.
The tournaments might not be getting picked up all the time for the junior golf scoreboard or the WAGR rankings, although that's changed in recent years. But our player probably isn't ranked. Plays a lot of tournaments, travels a lot of tournaments, and they may not start the process till the end of the junior year or the beginning of the senior year. Typically in the States, they start the players will start freshman year, sophomore year for sure. Start looking for schools and communicating with the coaches when permissible in the time frames.
Yep.
But most of our players don't really start to the end of the junior year and senior year. And maybe they've maybe not getting quite the right information. They've kind of lost a little bit of time. They're maybe false hopes, false promises. So we kind of get that late blooming player who's a very, very good student, superb student, and wants to play college golf, wants knowledge, wants to learn. How do you do the whole process, you might say.
Sure.
And so for that reason, that late start, that late bloomer is kind of my niche market, you might say. And having so many international players, word gets around. I've got many friends that have played the tours or different tours over the years. They've now established themselves throughout the world with their own golf schools or golf consulting businesses. So they've been very helpful in helping us get some good players in.
Yeah, that's great to hear because, I mean, we've been talking a lot about recruiting on the show for whatever reason. We just had, a couple coaches and we've had a couple, from junior college and just a couple instructors talking about, getting to D1 schools, which is increasingly getting harder and harder. And so we had talked about, what NIL is doing, what the transfer portal is doing. And now you're even saying that pretty much your entire squad is international. Are you seeing a better work ethic out of international students? Like, what's drawing you to having a more international squad?
It's a little bit. It's a good question. I get that asked a lot. I'm not quite sure I have the right answer for that. It's a different kind of student. It's a different player. The players in the U.S. have a lot of tournaments to play in. A lot of I call a lot of run-on tournaments. It's not unusual for me to see a resume with 25, 30 tournaments. I mean, literally a couple a week for the whole summer. To me, that sounds like that's a little bit exhausting. And I'm not quite sure there's any direction in that. So the international player, they will have less tournaments to play in, but they will take maybe a little bit more time and care in preparing for a specific tournament. There's a reason why they're preparing to play in a tournament, and they're lucky to be able to play in the tournaments. They don't play. The international players might play golf 6 days a week, but 4 or 5 of those days might be practicing off of mats, wobbly mats, and balls that aren't so good. I've traveled Europe, and I've been to Europe a few times on recruiting, and I've been to China 5 times. I think I'm going again the end of this next fall.
Yep.
But I've seen the conditions that they play in. I had 3 players a few years ago. Every 2 years, 3 players from Prague. They all played at the same club. Well, that sounds great. And when I went there to visit them, I went to their club. Well, the club had no golf course. It was a facility a little bit larger than your facility. You had a great facility here, but a little bit larger to accommodate the city of Prague. So where they learned to play was indoor golf, simulators, TrackMan. And they said, well, no, this is better because we don't get distracted by ball flights, so we learn proper technique. Now, they would play in the summertime. They play 3 or 4 months in the summertime. They would play tournaments. But the other 8 months, they're actually playing golf indoors. Now, those players, when they came to Boston, they were shooting 71 or 75. I mean, fabulous players, excellent players. And again, excellent students. So they didn't have, in China, I see much the same thing. They might play golf 6 days a week. But I said, what does that mean, play? Well, I'm at the range 5 and I'm on the course 1. 1, really? But again, they're learning technique, taking care of learning proper technique with their instructors, and they quite cherish the time that they're on the course for that 1 day a week, plus the cost of playing in Asia and just being able to get on the golf courses is really challenging. It's challenging worldwide since COVID. Golf has boomed,
Sure.
But certainly over there, the opportunities to play on a golf course is challenging. One of our better players a few years ago was from Vietnam, and talking about where she got to play. She was a fabulous player when she came to play for us, one of the top players in the country. But when she was in high school, her mother knew the general manager of the local golf course, and he allowed her to play after 4 o'clock every day. Only the first hole and the 18th hole. I said, what? How do you do that? She would play 4 balls, end of member play, you might say. She'd play 4 balls from the left side of the fairway, come back in 18, then go to the right side of the fairway, come at different angles, and learn how to take care proper shots. And she would do that 9 times. So she played her 18 holes was 9 times playing 2 holes, the first of the 18th hole. Hard to believe. This girl had fabulous technique and great determination, like a lot of them do. So the players across it's a big world. It's a big world.
Yeah.
And it really comes to how much do you want to play? How much do you want to learn? And how bad do you want to put an effort into it? So maybe to your question, the international players might have a little different opportunity than possibly players over here.
Yeah, and it's amazing because, like we mentioned, like the quality of play by juniors now is off the charts.
Yeah, it's stunning.
And I think it's a lot because we both probably learned from our dads or like a mentor that we just go out and, hit it this way, hit it that way. Right. Where now, I mean, these kids are taking lessons from 5 years old, and we're learning correct technique, and we're learning understanding ball flight laws, and we're understanding how to play the game. And I think that's what technology brings us, is just because we see it and we feel it doesn't necessarily translate to actually that's what caused it, if that makes sense.
Oh, sure.
And so, I've been really working on that myself, is like really understanding just from having the ball center stance to moving the ball back 1 ball to moving the ball forward 1 ball. If I never change my stance and I just move that ball forward or backwards, it's going to change my club path by 2 degrees. Just by doing that. And so we move the ball all over the place.
Right.
And so understanding what happens to the ball when you just make such small movements. And I think that's what a testament to those girls in Prague, that they're seeing these numbers on a daily basis. They're understanding that, hey, if I stand like this, it's going to be a 2-degree draw. Or if I stand like this and I move the ball back, well, that's going to jump it to a 6-degree draw or a 5-degree draw. And I never really, as I've owned this place and I'm in this place a lot more, obviously I was working for TrackMan before I came to this place, but I never really took a deep dive into the numbers and understanding just small placements here and there. And it's just been eye-opening to know how good you can get when you understand what happens when you set up differently.
And you could, just to your point, in the recruiting travels that I've done overseas during the year, I mean, you really have to see the conditions that the players practice under. So when a player tells me that they practice at the range 6 days a week, well, today it might be just tee shots. Mm-hmm. Tomorrow it could be iron play. The next day could be wedge shots. The next day could be putting. They are segmenting and dividing their practice time to specifically learn an area until they feel as though they've got under control. Very impressive watching the young players, the young women play. One thing that's changed a lot in the last less than 10 years, 5, 6, 7 years, is strength. The strength of the player.
Interesting, really?
So when I started, I've been coaching 27 years. I actually coached golf at MIT for 5 years before they did away with golf. But from starting then, I would say the average woman player, she was hitting it probably 210, 215.
Okay.
And right now, in recruiting, if you're not hitting it 230, 235 is the right number minimum. If you do the math on 6,000 yards, if you're hitting the ball 215 or 220, you can't get to some of the par 4s and maybe 1 par 3. And,
sure.
And so par really becomes 76 or 78. I would say in women's golf right now, no big deal hitting at 240. No big deal. No big deal hitting at 240. And many players hitting at 250, 255, 260. And this is all within the last 5 or 6, 7 years. I never thought there would come a day when I in talking to a recruit when we first get started talking, the first question I asked, I never thought I would do it, was I said, do you have your TrackMan numbers? Everyone does. Everyone's got TrackMan numbers, because I want to know how far you hit the ball, how far you carry the ball. Really not so much in the rollout. The rollout is bit of a variable with firmness and weather conditions and all. But I'm always interested in how far you carry the ball, and the right number is 218, 220 on the carry. About 10% gets you in that 240 range. But anyone in that 190, 195, 200 range, it's going to be really hard to play Division I golf. You can play college golf. You can definitely play. There's a home for everyone in golf. Doesn't have to be just Division I. But to play at the Division I level, you've really got to be at the 240 level, 235 minimum right now. And women are working out. They're getting stronger. Super speed sticks. I'm a big fan of super speed sticks. I see a lot of progress being made. Every year we start the year, the first day of every month, we'll get on our TrackMan, and the girls have been working out with super speed sticks 3 or maybe 4 times a week. And we'll do that monthly throughout the season. Once a month, they'll hit 10 balls. We'll take the average. And after doing this for a number of years, we see that if you work out with super speed sticks 3 or 4 times a week, 3 times is really the right number. You need a day of rest. But we'll see a 1 mile an hour improvement the first year, and it'll top out at 5 miles an hour by sometime in the springtime. So if you're working out with super speed sticks, in 6 months, you'll see 5 miles an hour. Every mile an hour is 2.5 yards. So you can work out and attain 12 yards, 12.5 yards in your freshman year. By springtime, you can do that. And that's on one shot. When you take 2 shots, it's about 18, 20 yards. That's a whole tremendous difference. That's a full club less. Instead of hitting 7, you're hitting 8 iron. Ball higher, closer, that whole thing. And just the strength in the game. We play in a lot of cold, chilly weather in the Carolinas and in February and March. So having the strength to be able to hit the ball into the wind, crosswinds, wet grass, wet, rough crosswinds, against the wind, all of that. You need strength. You need power and strength. And the strength that the young women have had in the last 7 years is fantastic to see. It's fantastic. It's helped them score better and play better.
Yeah, I think that's what's most impressive about the women's game is, I mean, they're putting hybrids to 4 feet. And where, for us, hybrid obviously is going to go further, but still you're watching these girls on the LPGA tour and they're like dropping hybrids to like 3 and 4 feet. And I'm like, that's really hard to do. Like, that's not an easy task.
They've trained with TrackMan. They've got rangefinders, pin sheets. It's changed a lot. Certainly when I was playing in tournaments, not to go back that amount of time, but I'd walk off the course in a practice round from the big tree to the middle of the green, from the 2 rocks. And it was, you literally were pacing, and you were pacing up and down. It wasn't necessarily as the crow flies, but that's so much technology is so help players learn their distances, learn their numbers. It's not uncommon for a college player as a 150 or as a 154. And it makes a big difference to them. It's quite amazing. And it does make a difference.
Well, and I think for people out there listening too, is like when you talk about 5 or 10 yards, increasing with swing stick or swing speed.
Super speed. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Some of the amateur things, well, yeah, I varied that much. But for an elite player that knows his or her yards so precisely, to gain that much over a course of a year, I think that's huge.
Well, it changes your game. It changes your knowledge of your carry distance and overall distance. Carry distance is really a big key for me in coaching. I like for our players to get a little index card, a little 4x6 index card, and I like for them to have every club, 13 clubs on the index card. I like to have them 2 numbers, their carry distance and their rollout distance. And so when we're playing a tournament and then they shoot the pin, I'll say, well, how far do you have? And I got 150 of the pin. What's your carry? Because there's a bunker in front. And you may, rather than take the club, you hit the club 150 on the rollout, but what's the carry? And so the carry number is a very important number to know throughout the bag, especially a driver, whether you can carry the bunkers or carry the stream or carry whatever the obstacle that's in the way. So to know your carry numbers is really, really important. And that'll change during the course of your 4 years for sure. You're getting stronger. You're getting sure, your body's getting stronger. You're working out in the gym 3 days a week. We work out in the gym 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays, usually either 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. A lot of times it's 6 a.m. because we've got to accommodate classes. So they're in the gym working out 6 to 7 3 days a week as a team with our trainer who's familiar with golf specific exercise. And I would say most of the players are probably working out two more times in their own. So working out 5 days a week, and it's not that's not the unusual play. That's every player that we see is needing to do that to maintain strength, to be able to compete and play, travel, and just do the rigors of college golf.
Yeah,
college golf's fun, but it's tiring. It's a busy day in season. It's,
walking 7 miles with a bag on your or do most of your girls do push carts or do they carry?
Most everyone is carrying push carts in college golf these days.
Yeah, but
most of our tournament format is 36-18. So when you we play 36-18. So if you do the math, teeing off shotgun teeing off at 8 o'clock each of the rounds, you're actually in a 36-18 format. You're actually playing 3 competitive rounds in 30 hours.
Yeah,
and pushing a 28-pound cart. So most of the players when they're in high school and junior golf, they're not playing 3 competitive rounds in 30 hours. But in college, you're competing, and not just playing a fun round of golf. You're competing in 30 hours, competition, and if I count the practice round, you're playing 4 rounds in 42 hours. That's after you've traveled to get to the site.
Sure.
And then take the last flight home and get into the airport at 1, 2 in the morning, 8 o'clock class, and you're ready to go. But that's the college life in season. It's chaotic, it's tiring, but it's a lot of fun.
I bet.
And that's what we all signed up to do.
I bet. Fun. Yeah, no, and I agree. I mean, everybody wishes. I love college golf. I mean, you got the team atmosphere. You got people to support you. You're having fun. You're living college. You're doing the college life. It's sad that we're getting to a point where we have a lot of people on social media that say, do you really need college? I'm like, man, college, that is just like life-changing, more on a personal level than maybe even an education level. It's just you got to learn how to live life.
It's funny you mentioned that. It's a good story. I totally agree with that. An example this year, one of my captain, 2-year captain, had a fabulous career at BU, top student. But I told her graduation, and I've been telling her during the year, the last 2 years, I don't even know who you are compared to your first 2 years. And I mean that as a compliment too. But college gives you, especially if you're playing, if you're lucky enough to be able to play a sport and you're on a team and you're with a group, it gives you a chance to grow and to learn who you are and to help you strengthen your areas of interest, whether it's academic, athletic, both. It's a wonderful time in life, and it looks good on the resume that you've played on a team.
Right.
Employers, nothing better than seeing that you've captained or led a group in the golf area or the sporting area. That's a wonderful asset which can separate you from others in the pile of resumes when you're looking for employment after school. College athletics is really you're lucky. I think the stats are 8% of all high school athletes get to play at some level in college, and 1.5% play in Division I of all sports. So it's really very few that get to play college sports. You're really lucky to be able to play college sports. Our team has 6 players on the team typically, and when you come the first day, you've got 5 friends right away, and then they've got 4 or 5 friends. In the first few days, 20 people through your sport. And you'll find 20 people the other way too, but it might take you a little bit longer to do that. A lot of advantages with playing athletics.
Oh, absolutely. And it's interesting to see what is happening with women's sports across the board. I've seen stats where the pitcher at Texas Tech, she just got $1 million contract with this NIL deal. And Texas is not playing around.
Right.
Like Texas has opened the floodgates.
Right.
Which in my mind, sometimes I 100% agree, especially in these sports that they're bringing in a ridiculous amount of money for the university. They should be compensated because they wouldn't have done it without that talent level. And, they say NIL, but we all know that that's getting a little bit relaxed. But it begs the question is, just like we talked about the transfer portal, is it going to be harder for high school students to get college coaches' attentions because you can grab any player across the country who's willing to go into the transfer portal? And 2 is it giving college students a bit of an ego now, being like, I command this much money for me to come play for you? What's your thoughts on both of those?
Oh boy, how much time do we have for that one? Well, with NIL and the transfer portal, I mean, it literally is changing every day in the last couple of years.
It is,
and it's going to be changing.
Wild West.
It's the Wild West. It's going to be changing, and if people, if administrators, coaches, or athletes say they know exactly what's going on, they may not, because the rules are changing every single day. It depends what you're in it for. I did a camp not too long ago in Florida. I was on a panel, and I had a men's coach. I won't mention the name, but he has a top 20 program in the country. Really good golf team. Mm-hmm. And they were going down the panel with questions talking about NLI and opportunities. And he said it's a great time for college athletes. You can come to school, you can be admitted to school, you can be on a team, you can get a scholarship, and you can make money. Nothing better. And he gave a very nice talk, and he got a nice little applause after that. And he said to me, "Coach, what do you have next?" And I'm not in the NLI arena, but I said to him, "Well, you know, I come from a school that I think we're ranked 36 in the world, a very good school, very high-end school.
Yep.
Do we have NIL money? No. Am I interested in it? No, not at all. What we have, though, is through golf, you can gain admission, you can gain a golf scholarship, but more important, you'll gain an education, and your thought process will help you in golf, in your business, in your personal life, for the rest of your life. And I don't know what that adds up to be, but I'm going to think that's going to be worth not only a lot of money, but a lot of personal satisfaction, good judgments, positive judgments, who you marry, how you raise your family, how you conduct your life, how you live your life. A lot of that's going to be you'll learn through your time in college and playing college athletics. So I don't think that I'm not quite sure we want to measure college sports by just how much money are they getting NIL. Now, I know if you tell me $4 million to quarterback Michigan or to quarterback Miami, yeah, sure, that's a lot of money, but there's only a couple of those in the world. And I think that my message is that what we have for an education and how you can develop as a person in those 4 years, and that's what I've got to boast about. And I'm looking for the player that's looking for that. And I've had players come up to me and through the portal or call me or contact me and want to know if they can get a coach, what do you have for me for NIL, and can I do 10 or 20 grand? I say, I really don't have anything, and I can't wait to press the delete button. And I don't mean to be insincere about that, but again, we have the education, you have an opportunity to play golf on a competitive environment, travel the country, and develop as a person. But that's the player that I'm looking for. So it's a little bit different than the player who might be in there just for the fast buck, you might say.
Yeah, and I mean now you're seeing. I could see it in golf for sure, but even like football, you're seeing kids making more money in college now. Then they have to go to the pros and take a pay cut.
Yep, right.
You know, it's just like, think about that. That is mind blowing to me.
The separation in sports is going on now, but outside of the Power Four, there's a huge gap between the Power Four with the football and basketball, especially with the high-profile football programs. Ohio State, my daughter went to Ohio State, graduated Ohio State, went to Columbia after that for grad school. But they were, I think I saw they brought in $280 million last year, which covers the whole athletic department. And every player on athletic scholarship. That's quite a bit to be able to cover, but there's not many schools that can do that. It's that Power Four, the football school, that's bringing in that kind of money. And it's just a different type of athlete, student athlete that they're bringing in. I'm not quite sure if the student athletes at that point either.
Yeah, time will tell how good that program is. I think there's going to have to be regulation. I think we're going to get to a point where it's going to be really hard to get recruited as a high school player. You know, if they don't put some sort of restriction on the transfer portal, I think that's the bigger problem.
The portal is I think the portal has been in existence since 2017. But
there used to be restrictions on it.
Yes, and now it's I follow the portal. Do I like the portal? No, I don't like the portal. I follow the portal every day, first thing I do in the morning. I go to Starbucks at 5:45. First thing I do is I look at the portal, so I'm not quite sure how much I don't like the portal. I'm curious about the portal. Right. But I'm always fascinated by freshmen after first semester in the portal. I say to myself, wow, you haven't even found the pencil sharpener. Not that anyone's using pencils these days.
I know.
But they haven't even found the cafeteria, and you're unhappy for some reason. You're in the portal. Why is that? I'm kind of always curious about it. I mean, one advantage that there is in the portal for coaches and for teams, which is a huge disadvantage for high school players, is when it comes down to do I take someone in the portal that's got 2 or 3 years left of eligibility? I know what they can do in school because I see the grades.
Yep.
I see the courses they take. I know the grades they get. And can they play college golf? Well, I know the tournaments. I see the scores. And so I can see your scores. I can see your grades. And so I know how well you've adjusted and acclimated to college life, which is hard, and if you can do it or not. So do you sign someone like that for 2 or 3 years, or do you take a very promising, a great potential future with a high school player, but you don't know if they can do the high school work or the college work, or if they can, or how they're going to compete under the competitive rigors of collegiate golf. So do you take the known for 2 or 3 years, or a little longer period? And I think what's happening is it's but it's clearly hurting the high school players. Many coaches are taking the known factor. They know how you compete,
yep.
and they know how you do academically in school, in college. And so that, I think that's a 30% disadvantage of all the spots that are available to play. 30% of them are getting gobbled up in the portal, transfer portal. That's hurting the high school kid a lot. Consequently, my advice to kids, which I get a few phone calls, maybe looking for advice or visits from players. I tell them these days, if you get an offer from a college, grab the offer. Mm-hmm. The days of I'll let you know, I'll get back to you in a few weeks, I'll get back to you in a month. Those days have gone by. For a recruit to be telling a coach, well, you're in my top 5, you're in my top 3, I'll let you know in a few months. Those days are gone. Things are changing very, very fast. There's a lot of good students. There's a lot of good players.
So they pretty much have the pick of the litter?
The players?
No, the coaches.
Well, it's a little bit more in their favor now with the transfer portal.
Yeah.
It's less in favor of the high school student. Not to be self-serving a little bit, but I run golf camps in Pinehurst. I run Boston University Girls Golf Clinic. I run camps in the summertime. I coach women's golf, so I conduct clinics in the summertime. They're usually no more than 2 players I have in for a two-day clinic that I'll have at the resort. And we will have breakout sessions, discussion sessions, 3 of those a day. We'll practice short game. We'll practice long game. I'll give them some tips. Not that I'm their swing coach, but you might want to go back to your swing coach and work in this area. We'll go out on the course, we'll play, so I get a feel for the game.
Yep.
But what we're trying to do in those 2 days is to learn your academic skill, where you are academic. Most of the girls are very good students, superb students, and high academics, excellent GPAs, excellent SATs, ACTs, and they all want to play golf. They all want to go to a great school. So in that 2 days of the camp, we will break down where you are academically, where you are in golf, and how that kind of fits what kind of school you're looking at, or what kind of a conference you might be in. And during that time, I inculcate to them just what I said. When you get an offer and you're talking to a coach and they offer you a spot, or they want to come back to you and continue the conversation, you stay with that coach. You don't leave him for... you go where you wanted, not where you want to go. And I'll repeat that one more time.
Yep.
You want to go where you wanted, not where you want to go, because there's a big difference there. And many players, when they come into the camp in 2 days, I might see that there's certain pathways, different pathways for them at the end of the 2 days. So I have a lot of fun doing that. But and I'm not quite sure that message gets heard a lot too, because the junior players throughout their career, they've got their own goals and desires, parental friend influences on where you should go, and so on and so forth. But every school, there's a place for everyone. There's a place for you to play and to study, and good schools and good programs to play in. But it's not always about where you want to go. A lot of times I get players that, well, everybody wants to go to the Ivy League. Everybody wants to go to Harvard, Yale, Princeton. That's great, and you should be achieving that.
Yeah.
But there are 6 teams in the Ivy League. I'm close to the Ivies, and we play them a lot, so I know the story.
Yeah.
But there are 6 teams in the Ivy League. Every team, roughly 8 players. That means they bring 2 players in a year. So they bring 2 players in a year. There are 6 teams. So theoretically, the Ivy Leagues are bringing in 6 women golfers every year. 6 women golfers, new golfers into the Ivy every year. 6 women players around the world. Not Moore County, not North Carolina, not the United States, not North America, from around the world. So only 12 players are fortunate enough to be able to get into those programs. And again, I'm not discouraging, but we might need to also have Plan B in case that doesn't quite work out in that regard.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and my daughters, one's going after softball, one's going after volleyball. I think they want to play in college. They've kind of expressed, hey, I would love to go. And my youngest was like, where do you want me to go to college? I said, whoever gives you a full ride, that's where you're going to go.
It's a major consideration. It's a major consideration.
Major consideration.
What is the average cost of college, would you say, right now? I mean, certainly in the Northeast, it's a lot higher. In the Northeast, it's $90,000 a year, $92,000.
Yeah, I'd say the national average, probably in the 40,000 range.
Okay, let's take 40,000. So that's for 4 years. That's $160,000. But I like to say that's net. That means your parents have got to make, let's just say $250,000 to get to the 160.
I agree.
To get
then
to
you
the
got
40.
living expenses, and you got. I mean, college is not cheap, which is the problem. Which is why we have people on social media saying, "Why are you going to go into debt $200,000 for a general studies degree that you don't even know what you're doing?" And I listen, I don't disagree with that. Like, if you're going to go to college, you got to have a plan. Like, you got to have a purpose. You can't just go and be like, maybe I'll just hang around college, and because you're going to get out. And you're
a lot of waste
like,
of money. That's a lot of waste of money to do that.
Man, I couldn't even imagine. And even like me, yes, I'm in the golf business, but I didn't go to school to be a PGA professional. I went to school to be a golf course superintendent. I did 12 years in that world, and now I'm in the golf industry. But I think there's a lot of people that go to school that don't end up doing what they went to school for. So I think it's very, very smart of people to really take a serious look, like, hey, what am I going to do with this career? That's why I tell my girls, like, scholarships are everything. If you're a good enough athlete to get a college scholarship, that's like winning the lottery. I think that's such an accomplishment. Like you said, what, 1%? 1% of all athletes will play D1. It's like
in all sports.
In all sports.
Yeah.
I mean, that's elite. I mean, we would consider the 1%ers financially the elites of the elites.
The trick in all of this is whether you're playing softball, whether you're swimming, or whether you're playing golf. How do you make contact with the coach? How do you get to the coach? How do you attract the coach's attention so that you can develop a relationship with the coach? And we talk about a lot that in the camps that I have.
I love that.
But a lot of it. It's major.
Because it's so important.
Because that's the first thing we talk about. And that conversation goes on all day for 2 days. Until after 2 days, I'm confident that I know that you know how to approach the coach. But you are basically attempting to market yourself. You're 18 years old. You're marketing yourself. You're selling yourself. 18 years, all your accomplishments, and you need to put that in a very short 3 paragraphs a paper presentation, or if you're on the phone, it's a 1 minute. It's a 1 minute getting attention type of a thing. So how are you do that? That's the trick. And just to know on the other end, the coach is inundated. Not only is the coach practicing recruiting, playing in tournaments, playing games. I get 100, 125 resumes a year, and I'm only looking for 1 or 2 players. And so how do you do that? How do you kind of ferret through that? Who jumps out of that 125? Who jumps out? And how do you read through all that? So the student athletes have got to give it thought. How are they going to sell themselves? How are they going to market themselves? I mean, the suggestion is short paragraph 1. My name is, I live, and I here in Pinehurst, and I'd like to go to your school and study X. Yep. Paragraph 2 is attached to my high school transcript, attached to my SATs, my ACTs, my TOEFL if I'm international, and all of those have got to be attached to the resume, so it's not back and forth, calling back and forth, looking for the information. Paragraph 3 is your athletic accomplishments, always after the academics. Academics are first, athletic is second.
Man, that is I love that you just said that, because there's so many kids out there that they can just make it to a D1 squad just based on their athletic ability. Like, you got to have brains.
There's a lot of
or effort at least.
On paragraph 3, your golf or your athletic accomplishments, maybe a screenshot of your last year and a half of a competition. In golf, it's a swing video, TrackMan information, your golf teacher's contact in your upcoming tournament schedule. So in that short 3-paragraph email that you've sent to the coach, he or she has your name, contact, why you want to go to school. They've got your academic profile attachments. They've got your golf profile attachments. And that is the way to start off. Your comment about academics first. Just before I came in today, I got two new recruits that came in today. The first thing I scroll down is I don't look at the golf scores or the golf swing. I see the attachments for the swing. I see the blocks for the golf scores. I'm looking what kind of student is, where are the SATs?
Yeah.
Where are the ACTs? And our school is, we just announced we're still going to be test optional through 29. Most colleges are still test optional. I want the recruits, for me, I want you to take SATs.
Yeah.
Even though we're test optional. Because if you're a good student, it's going to help separate you from the crowd.
Sure.
And I want to be able to know that you've taken that extra step. The studying for the SATs, the anxiety of taking the SATs, the preparation.
It's hard.
And maybe you have to take them 2 or 3 times. And if you're not willing to do that, you might not be able to be willing to put the time into your golf, because there's a great parallel. But from my perspective, and I know a lot of my contemporaries, a lot of my colleagues, the first question is, what kind of student are you? What are your grades? What kind of courses are you taking?
Yep.
Are you taking honor courses? Are you taking AP courses? Or are you taking just easy courses to get grades? There's a lot of good players in every sport, and there's a lot of good students.
Yep.
And you've got to be a good student. You've got to be a good student.
You know, that's an interesting thing that you just said about AP courses, because I talked to a mom one day, maybe a year ago or so, and she goes, high school students taking AP courses is the dumbest thing. And I got to thinking about that, and I was like, why would you say that? And she's like, she said that because no college is looking at the kind of courses that you took. They're only looking at your GPA. But you said something different there. You do not look at that. But it got me thinking, like, we're putting these kids in harder classes, which is driving down their GPA. But then when they go to college, they're being judged on their GPA.
I think the GPA, just in my experience, I'm not on the admissions committee, but certainly I have interaction with the admissions representatives of the admissions committee.
Sure, absolutely.
From what I see, everyone's GPA. GPA is quite a bit of a distance behind the quality of courses that you're taking, and whether you take an AP, whether you take an honors courses.
So that does make a difference.
No, huge.
Okay.
I'm in the Patriot League, which is a lot of high academic institutions, Navy, Bucknell, Lehigh, Holy Cross. These are all very top institutions. We play a lot of tournaments against the Ivy Leagues, and these are a bit of the Northeast circles that we play against.
Right.
AP course, the quality of courses is clearly very, very important. And a GPA is maybe it's in 3rd, 4th place. SAT is very important. ACT is very, very important. TOEFL score is very important. If you're an international student, TOEFL is critical. If you don't score high enough, how are you going to be able to understand and read, listen in class, and read? How are you going to be able to do that?
Yeah.
So the standardized tests, and I'm not a standardized test fan at all, by the way. And someone who didn't do well.
I was a terrible test taker.
I was not a very good test taker, but I actually can see the correlation between very good at SAT scores and not so good scores, and whether they can do the work at the collegiate level, you might say. Quality of courses is very important.
That is okay. Well, that makes me happy to hear that, because I got to thinking about that and I was like, I wonder if that's really true. So, that's nice to see that quality of courses. So they're not sacrificing all this, because AP courses are not easy.
No, and I've seen from admissions come back to me, not so much recently because I don't really I changed a little bit, but years ago when I got started coaching, I would see coming back, hey, this student took a lot of AP courses freshman, sophomore year, took less junior year, took none senior year. In fact, let's look at the quality of courses senior year. To admissions, clearly that was an effort to boost GPA and to show an upward trend of good grades, but that's a result of taking less courses. You're going to school to get an education.
Yep.
You want to learn. It should be challenging. It should be hard.
Sure.
It should be hard. You're going to school to get an education to prepare you for the working world. That's not easy. And you want to be properly educated. School should be challenging. School should be challenging. When I talk to a recruit, I got a recruit. I'm talking to 2 recruits tonight when I get home at 7 and 8 o'clock tonight. If we talk golf, it'll be toward the end of the conversation. Mm-hmm. My first questions will be, we'll talk about academics. I'll ask them, do you like school? Do you like school? Do you like school? Do you like studying? That may appear to be dumb, but at school, you're studying close to 3 hours a day. You got to like it to be able to want to study 3 hours a day. Oh, I got practice. I got a tournament. And I'm missing classes. To be able to put that all together on top of liking to study. So do you like to go to class? Do you enjoy school? Do you enjoy doing homework? Not that everyone enjoys it, but it's a task that it should present itself as a challenge.
Yeah. I mean, you may not enjoy it, but at least you got to say it's a necessity.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just something I have to do.
And again, for me, if you put the effort in academics, if you've made the time, if you first of all picked courses that are challenging, pick courses that are hard, which are going to require a lot of studying, and if you make the time to do this and put this effort in to do well in school, that's how you probably approach golf. And if you're sloppy with school, if you don't really do what you're supposed to be doing and kind of just brush it aside, that's probably how you play golf. Yeah. Golf's a very challenging endeavor. You're out there all alone in tournaments, and a lot of times, what are you going to do about it? You're not playing well. What are you going to do about it? What do you have to fall back on in terms of your training and learning habits in golf? Great parallel between effort with school and effort with golf. I'm not looking for straight A's. I'm not looking for 72.
Yep.
I am looking for effort, though.
Yeah, effort makes a huge difference.
Huge.
Yeah, so let's talk about your golf camp a little bit at Pinehurst that you do. So do you bring your team in to be a part of that, or it's just for you?
It's a year-round activity when I'm home, but the summertime is when the time most of the players have a chance to go to tournaments and go to golf camps.
Yep.
So I started the golf camp about 12 years ago. Quite a few of them in Pinehurst here. We've got 1 or 2 players coming. Most of the time it's just one player. So they get a lot of attention, and we're able to break down the college process, how to find a school. Do I go to a big school, small school, urban, suburban? What do I want to study? These are the schools you might be interested in, how to research them. Are my grades good enough? Well, let's go look up the school. What's the average SAT? 1,400? What are you, 1,500? Yeah, you're pretty good. Are you 1050? Might not be a fit. Let's look at the golf program. Mm-hmm. What do you shoot? You shoot 72? What's that team shoot? They shoot 300, an average of 75, let's say. Well, that fits. What do you shoot? 83? What's their average? 300? Might not fit. And it's not that you don't have the academic aptitude, or not that you're not a good player, but you just might not be a fit for that school. Sure. You can do a lot of this work on your own. You don't need to be waiting for someone to tell you whether you're academically qualified or golf qualified for that particular program, but it can get you on the right track. So we will break this down a lot and be real about where you are with your grades and what kind of a player are you. There's a home for everybody, and there's good programs, good homes. There's a lot of fantastic Division III schools that are extremely high academics. They have good competitive programs. The players are totally unaware of. I'll bring a school like Amherst to. Amherst typically ranks in the top 10 of all in U.S. News World Report. They're typically academically in the top 10, and they've got a golf team that if you can shoot mid-high 70s, you could probably play in the golf team. They've also got $2 billion endowment. 94% of the students at Amherst graduate with zero debt. People don't even know about Amherst. Last year ranked number 7. That's a pretty good story.
That's amazing.
We cover these kind of things in the golf camp. The golf team coming down is a little bit. They've got used to practice facilities and all, but I try to help the players, help the women understand there is an opportunity for them. There's a home for them. Again, I go back to go where you want it and not where you want to go. There's quite a bit of a difference. So
well, and I think that's important because if you go somewhere that you're wanted, you're probably going to have a better experience.
You've got an emotional attachment to that school.
Yes.
You're not going to play well every tournament. You're not going to get an A on every grade. And we all have the ups and downs of life, but when it's not going your way either on the golf course or in the classroom or both, you have to have made the decision to go there.
Sure.
And that's what will get you through the school. I get asked all the time. The recruits are asking me, Coach, what are you looking for? Good scores? Yeah, good scores, of course. That's why we're talking. That's that's the first reason why we're talking, because of you're a good player.
Yep.
The next is what kind of grades are you? What kind of student are you? The golf's 25%. Academics, probably 25%. For me, 50%, I like to know, who are you? Why do you want to come to school? What do you want to study? Do you want to be here?
Yeah.
And I'll get asked the question several times in the course of the recruiting process, what are you looking for? And my end answer, I might hold it back a little bit, but my answer will be, what am I looking for? I'm looking for someone that wants to be at my school, that wants to be here. And that means that you want to go to these classes at this school.
Yeah.
Take these tests, study, that the professor gives you the assignments to study. Someone wants to play golf in our program, travel. Be proud, be happy that you're with this school. Socialize, make friends, live your whole life. You live your life. You're on campus for 9 months a year, for 4 years. That's a long time in your development years. I want you to be happy on campus. I'm not asking you to get any grades, certain grades. I'm not asking you to shoot a good score, but do your best. Do your best and be happy. If we're happy in life with what we do, we generally do pretty good. And we're interested. We want to learn and we want to get better.
Yeah, I think you said something very poignant there, is that even when you're a good player coming out at a school, a lot of kids are going, oh, I want to play for University of Kentucky, or I want to play for Texas, or I want to play for Boston University. But then they go there and then it's not the same culture. It's different. It's not what they expected. So I think that's very poignant to say, hey, go find your schools that match you. Go find the schools that match what you want to do in life, that are good at those things. And then if you have those set of schools, then you start trying to get recruited by those teams, so you can go to actual school that's going to be beneficial to you and that you're going to be a good fit. A lot of times these kids have got to just go after the program instead of after the school that actually would do something beneficial for their life.
So in the recruiting process, when recruits come to campus, ultimately when they come to campus, I probably spend the first 30 minutes of the day, I'll meet them at 8 o'clock, and I'll be all done with meeting them at 8:30, and I won't see them the rest of the day.
Yeah.
And I will pass them off to the players on the team. They'll take tours of the campus. They'll visit the dorms, the classrooms, the athletic facilities. They'll have lunch. They'll have dinner with the players. I don't really want to be involved in that. That's because for the recruits, this is your team. That's who you're going to be hanging out with for 4 years.
Yep.
Is that a fit for you? And also the other way around with the players. Is this the kind of player that kind of student athlete that you want to have? And when the player leaves and we get together the next day or two, my question to the players will be, I mean, I've kind of already made up my mind at some point, but I really want to know from the players, is that player, does she fit? Does she fit here? Does she want to be here? Does she want to be here? Is she happy being here? And you get answers, both ways in the course of time. But is it a fit both ways for the player, for the student athlete, and for the team? Getting back to one point I'd like to make, when you brought up about golf camps, and I had mentioned earlier in the conversation here, it's hard to know coaches. It's hard to get the coach's attention.
Yep.
With the NCAA regulations, you can write the coach at any time you want. You can send him videos, you can write him, you can send him emails, you can leave voicemails, you can send as much information to that coach at any time, at any age you want. But that coach cannot respond to you, emails or phone calls, until after June 15th, after your sophomore year.
June 15th after your okay.
So if you're a freshman or a sophomore, gee, I'm writing to the coach. I'm not hearing from them. Well, it's because they can't respond to you after June 15th. And they can only, at that point, they can only respond to you on the phone or email or text message. And then after August 1st after your sophomore year, then coaches can talk with you in person. They can meet you in person.
Okay. When can they make offers?
Well, that's it. It's an interesting question. They can, so a coach can watch you play at any time, can watch you play in the 8th grade.
Yeah.
Watch you, he's evaluating you. He can watch you do that. That's okay. No communication until June 15th after sophomore year, and no face-to-face until after August 1st. At that point, so to answer your question, when they can make an offer when they're able to write or talk to you. So it could be in writing after June 15th.
Oh, they can just send you an offer that way.
They can answer you and send you an offer.
Okay.
It's a non-binding.
Yep.
It's non-binding. Nothing is binding until what's now the LOC, letter of commitment, which takes place your senior year. Much of this is it's all verbal. It's all. I'm always amused when I'll hear a 9th grader say, "Well, so and so coach made me an offer." I'll say, "That's cool because he really can't talk to you."
Yeah.
So how is it? Is it that you think that you want to go there and you think that you'll qualify for that? But I'm always, in freshmen and sophomores, I'll hear that. You hear that a little bit. I've got a full offer.
100%. I've heard that.
And I said, "Wow, how does that happen?" And I would say most coaches. I mean, they're certainly mindful of the timelines. But what I wanted to mention to you is going back to how do you get the coach's attention? It doesn't matter the sport, but since we're talking golf, let's do golf.
Yep.
If you want to go to a particular school and you have an interest in a school, find out the camp that coach is at. And in my own case, I'm in Pinehurst.
Yep.
I have a website, Boston University GirlsGolfClinic.com.
Yep.
You go to the website, you see these are the dates available. You want to come to my school or any other school, and you find out, because most of the coaches will list what camps they'll be working on.
Yep.
Or you find camps, you look at those camps, who are the coaches there. So I would suggest a player going to the camp that the coach is at, because at the camp, although the coach cannot promote his or her particular school, you're talking to the coach of the school that you want. You're getting to meet the coach.
Absolutely.
Learning the coach for a couple of days. Most camps are 1, 2, 3 days long. And the coach is learning you. And if the coach says, again, the coach cannot promote, at the camps, they can't promote their schools in the freshman and sophomore years of high school. They can tell you what college life is in general, and we're kind of fit that. So you kind of get a feel of that.
Yep.
But the best way to get a coach's attention is to find the camp that he or she has. And if the coach is halfway across the country and you want to go to the camp, I wouldn't plan a golf tournament. I go to the camp.
You know,
I want to meet the coach.
I
and
agree.
The coach meet me.
I am so behind you on this one.
And what'll happen is, assuming, gee, I like the coach. I like good coach, knows his stuff, runs a nice program. You can see the symmetry that would be there. And the same way the coach would be, there's a player that player works really hard, asking great questions, is interested. And so you can both learn to develop a relationship. And otherwise, contrary to, you can say, oh, I don't like that coach.
Yeah.
That's a tough, I don't want to be around that coach. So you've already learned that face to face. And it works both ways. There are many opportunities. You'll learn from coaches. You might have coaches that'll tell you, you're not playing bad. You can lose your scholarship. There are schools out there, good schools. You can lose your scholarship for poor play.
Yeah,
you can do that, or downgrade. And you want to be around that program? Well, yeah, I want to be at that school because they're a top 20, a top 10 program, and I want to turn pro, and I want to. Okay, that's the risk that you're taking there. But if you don't want to be around that kind of environment, you might want to be looking for different schools.
Yeah, that's so funny that you brought that up, because we talked about this a couple, maybe first or second episode of the podcast, and the world of travel ball, not counting golf, because golf is more tournament, junior tours and AJGA and all those things, but travel ball especially. There's this whole world of you're not going to get recruited unless you play travel ball. And I just don't think that that's true. I don't think that that's true. I think it's exactly what you said. Like my daughters who will be going into eighth and ninth grade. So starting in ninth grade, I want to make sure that my daughters start to go to different colleges, maybe a couple camps during the summer, and we can get them into one or two camps of schools that they're interested in.
Where the coach is going to be?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what we're going to do. And like, hey, even though you don't play travel ball or you play local travel ball, we play like a local area. We don't travel to like some of these, man, they're taking plane rides.
Right.
They're craziness. And so I said, only takes an interaction with the coach. Let them see your skill set. Let them see what you're doing. Let them see what kind of person you are, which is, I think, even more important.
Major. Number one.
Yes.
Number one. Can you conduct your own life? These are the questions the coaches are asking of themselves.
Yep.
No different than what, can you make your own decisions?
I agree.
Can you make your own decisions, or do you have to call home all the time and discuss?
It's probably more increasingly now than it's ever been.
Sure. Are you able to make your own decisions? As I like to say, the adjustment from high school to college, it's huge. And not only are you going to school to learn and you're living there, you're socializing there, but you're doing a third thing is you're playing a sport. So in my mind, when I'm coaching with recruits, I'm always asking myself, can this player make decisions in college in an environment with a lot of distractions? And lots of distractions. You don't have to go looking for them. They'll find you. Distractions have no problem. But can you make decisions and do well in school and do well athletically with lots of continual distractions?
Yeah.
And so I'm asking that question to myself. Do I thin them? We don't know. You're gambling a little bit. You're hoping that player is mature enough and confident enough to be able to make decisions to lead them to success in the classroom and the golf course. Of course, coaching, you're mentoring, you're here helping them, but you don't make the decisions, and they have to make them themselves. Yeah. And that's. Do you want to be here at this school? And do you want to? Are you able to make proper decisions with many distractions? One more time, find camps where the coaches are working the camps. The best way to learn the coach. The best way.
Yeah, I love that. I didn't even think about it the flip side of, hey, you're going to go there. You're going to see what they are like and how they handle situations. And you're going to be like, oh, there's no way I can play here. And then that kind of eliminates that out of the arsenal. Then you don't have to go after somebody and then be there for a year. Like you mentioned, freshman people are already in the transfer portal because they didn't do.
Stunning.
They just went for the name recognition, and then they realized, oh, this is the worst fit ever. And now I'm or they're just jumping to try to make money.
Maybe. Or maybe they didn't realize the academics were, gee, there's a lot of homework here. I don't think I like homework. Or I was the number one player in high school, but when you're on let's golf as an example, when you're on a team of 7 and everybody played number one. Mm-hmm. But there's only one number one player now. Exactly. And that could be a huge adjustment to be able to do that. Well, I played number one for 4 years in high school. I know, but we everyone played number one right here.
Exactly. That's like average in college.
Yeah. So again, can you adapt to that? Can you adapt to that and figure that out?
No, that is so enlightening, and I hope people out there listening is really paying attention to that, because it's really, really important. So yes, I wish everybody could go to the exact school they want to go to. They did everything they were supposed to do, and it was the best experience of their life. But that's just not life. Life has challenges, and it has temptations, and it has things that'll pull you away from the game, and it has personalities that are different that just sometimes just aren't a good fit.
You want to go to a place athletically, golf. We're still talking golf. You want to go to a place where you can develop over the 4 years.
Yep. Typically
in college, in golf, the best years in college are the freshman and sophomore years, and then kind of maybe fade off. Many times they fade off a bit in junior and then senior year. Distractions, jobs, interviews, things like that, and maybe just as time evolves in 3 or 4 years, being out recruited too. Constant good players are coming in. So in my particular case, the players that we have, actually their best years are junior, senior year, and not freshman, sophomore year, because they've had a chance. They play. I keep small teams, and they've had a chance to develop and to be able to get better at the collegiate level, so that freshman year is quite a learning curve, and then you start to kind of come in your own sophomore and junior year for sure, and senior year. So when these players are looking at colleges, look to see at the rate of progression of the players. How would go back a few years? What were they like as a freshman? How are they now as juniors and seniors? You can find this information online. Just going back to the archives of the team and study the scores, learn the development pattern that way. Do you see some schools where if you were to go back, you see juniors now? That seems to be a lot of kids, they kind of drop out of the program after second or third year. Why is that? You might ask those kind of questions. You want to go to a school where you see the juniors and seniors, look at what they did freshman, sophomore. They're still playing a lot.
Yep.
They're contributing, and they're getting better. So you know that in that kind of environment that player's had a chance to develop. And that's what you want. You want to be getting better. And golf's a kind of a sport where it's not like tennis, where tennis, you can be a top tennis player like at 13, 14 years old. But golf's certainly all through high school, through college, and after college. Many years, as you get older, you become a better player. You want to be able to play, and you want to be able to develop in college. A family who I've known most of my life, a few years ago, we all chatted with the daughter, and all the question was, do you go to literally a top 5 golf school in the country, and you're probably not going to play for 4 years?
Yeah.
Or do you go to a top 100 school, and you don't play all the time? And my advice is, well, it's your choice. By the way, it's not my choice.
Yeah.
But you just know what the two options are. They took the top 5, and she never played. Was miserable.
Yeah.
So I'm not quite. You're in the photo. You're in the picture.
Right.
But you're not part of the team when that team is leaving in the van or flying, and you're waving goodbye, and then you're hearing after the weekend what happened at the term all year for 4 years. I'm not quite sure how much you get out of that. You want to develop. You want to develop your game where you're improving your game. You want to develop where, hopefully, if you're fortunate enough to become a captain, you become a leader. You're leading a group. On the resume, that looks really good. Captain, leading a team, leading a group.
All-American.
You're already learning how to have led a group. And as I mentioned to our captains, every year, remember, you are leading a group. We have a goal. We have certain goals to meet, and you're leading our team. And our team is the players and me. It's you're leading all of us, but you're leading players who you didn't choose to get to a goal. So that's going to be your challenge as a captain, and I mean that positively too. So it helps them to learn methodologies and how they can lead. Usually after the first month, the captains come to me, this is hard. This is really, I thought this looked easy. I said, well, the captain before you made it look easy. So it's fun, and it's a good learning experience. But again, it's not a group that you selected, but you've got to lead us and get us to where we need to be at the end of the year. And we have to accomplish that goal. And again, I help and mentor and all that, but I really want to see how they can lead and what they can do.
Yeah, and one question I wanted to, based on that is, when you get a recruit, you want them. They said, "Yep, I'm committed. I'm coming to Boston University." Walk me through kind of your role. Like, are you taking a full role and developing them into a better player? Do you want them to have their own swing coach? Like, what is your role, or what is your philosophy or your role in teaching these kids, one, how to grow as a person, but more importantly, to grow as a player and become a better player?
I'm not their swing coach. They've got a swing coach.
Okay.
I like to think that I'm a very good teacher. I've had a lot of success. I personally have played amateur golf most of my life, high-end amateur golf. I've played 14 USGA events. I played the U.S. Open in 1980. I played the tour event at Bank of Boston in 85, a little while ago. But I've played in a lot of high-level amateur and professional tournaments all my life. So I've learned what it takes to get to that level, the sacrifices and things you got to do, instruction, tournaments, practice, playing. And I've been an observer all of the years, too. So my role is I'm not their swing coach. They have a swing coach which they can rely on. I will help them with their swing, for sure. But I coach, if we have 7 players in the team, I coach 7 different ways. I don't coach 7 people the same different. Everyone's got different skill level, different emotional level, different interest in the game, different skill level, different level in terms of goals where they want to go with it in college and after. And I try to learn that and accommodate them for them. So a lot of my coaching is a lot of one-on-one, a lot of conversations one-on-one.
Sure.
And I like to say that I've got enough case studies over the years where we've had more progress sitting in Starbucks for an hour over a tall latte for an hour than hitting 100 balls at the range. I really mean that too. We clear the air, as I say. What's really going on?
Yeah.
What's happening? How are you approaching things? In terms of technique in coaching, we don't have time to work on your swing.
Yep.
And if I didn't think your swing could hold up under the rigors of college golf, I wouldn't recruit you. But a couple of simple things like we travel so much with so much travel, different courses, our lines can change. So ball position and alignment, those two things you can get out of whack a little bit on those. Those two things I'll spend a bit of time with, but most of my time is on mental skills, clearly mental skills.
Yeah, that's interesting. So you're truly 90, like a coach.
90% of my time more is on mental skills.
Yeah.
And that is an area that I can show that over the years we've made great strides in a short amount of time, much short amount of time. I'll have the recruits, I'm on the phone tonight with a couple of girls coming in next year, actually the whole team, and I'll make the suggestion to the recruits tonight, to the players coming in. Summer reading, Harvey Pennock, the little red book, the little green book, and Bob Rotella, your 15th club. I always want the players to read those three books in the summertime. Pennock's books are great. Little red book, little green book, light reading, but it's really a lot of good mental skills. See the flag, aim at the flag. Don't see the bunkers, the water, things like that in his books. So I'll have them do those readings in the summertime for sure. During the course of the year, there may be a few videos I might show them, but we talk a lot about I've got to learn the environment that you've had for 18 years. How did you learn how to play golf? If there's one area that I'm not excited about, we get a lot of TrackMan players, as I say these days. Mm-hmm. Kids that have learned to play the numbers. Yep. And we'll have to throw a little, which is fine. TrackMan's fantastic. Flight Scope, TrackMan. These are all fantastic, which has accelerated the ability of the players to learn how to play proper golf, good golf, hit the ball square, hit it solid. But when they come to me in September, I might say, let's have fun with the 7-9. Now let's just choke it down a half inch and hit a little 3/4 swing. Keep the ball flight down a little bit because we're going to need that shot. Yep. Well, let's hit a 7-9, 8-iron distance. They'll go, what? Well, we need that. You just can't quite get there.
Yeah, that's foreign to them.
A little uphill, the wind. We need a 7. We're going to knock it down a little bit. So it's that ability. I want them to learn how to hit those shots. It takes a little bit of a while. And not only to learn how to hit them, but to be able to use them in tournaments, which is a whole other deal, to have the confidence to be able to do that. So to get to that step, I need to learn the environment that they've had coming into me. And I'm not trying to unravel it, and I'm not trying to change it. I'm trying to give them added information, more options. So if you could choke down the club and take a 3/4 swing, you've got 17, 18 clubs in the bag, instead of just your 13 clubs, you might say. So I do accommodate the players and their own skill set, their own flexibility, their own strength. I try to help them become better players in that regard. I'm always mindful of how I say things, the choice of words, the inflection of the voice, and if a player is listening to me or not. If I can give you an example, a couple of years ago, we're playing down at Yale. Very good player we have, really good player. She shoots 73, 71, 2 over par, 144, good scorer. 144, 2 over, 2 behind the leader, 7 3-putts in the first 2 rounds.
Wow.
She says to me after the second round, 3-putting myself. I've had 7 3-putts. I'm hitting the ball beautifully. I want to win. Can you help me? I said, well, and I've noticed that I haven't said a darn thing because she hasn't asked me. And why bother? Because I don't think she's going to listen to me during the moment of the 3-putts. Sure. But now we're at round 3, a little desperation, only 1 round to go. She wants to win. Great kid, good player, a lot of skill. Hitting the ball great and frustrated because so many 3-putts. I said, well, I'll give you a little tip, but I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to waste your time either. Yeah. So if we're talking, you got to promise me you're going to do it. And I think I do well. Desperate, which is the best time to get someone. I said, okay, here's what we're going to do tomorrow. Tomorrow, don't change your game plan. You keep going the way you're going, tee to green. But I want you to do one thing tomorrow. When you putt, only on your first putts. We're at Yale. Yale's got tricky greens. McDonald design, fabulous design, very tricky greens. I said, tomorrow on your first putt, you make sure you do one thing. You make sure you intentionally miss that putt. Do not make the putt. So if you hit it 30 feet, do not make it. And if you hit it stiff, 3 or 4 feet, you make sure you miss that putt. Do not make it. Now walk away. That was my advice to her. Wasn't happy. I could hear her saying to her team, "Did you hear what Bruce told me? I'm trying to win, and he's telling me, what is he?" Blah, well, I liked it. It was good. I didn't talk to her at dinner that night. The next morning at breakfast, 6 o'clock breakfast, she looked a little tired. And I said to her, "How you doing? How was sleep last night? You doing good? Ready to go today?" I slept terrible. I was up all night. "If you don't mind me telling you, I'm asking you to help me win a tournament, and you told me to miss every one of my first putts. What is that?" I said, "That's exactly right. You want to win the tournament, you make sure you miss your first putts." And that was it. I didn't talk to her the rest of the day. I drive around the car with the snacks and the water during the tournament. So when I went by, I would flip of the water and toss a few snacks. I didn't say a darn word to her. And I knew a couple times she wanted to talk. I just rode by her. So I didn't say anything. It's a great story. One of my better stories. She gets off the 18th green, big smile. I said, "Yo, talk to me." I shout out, "Talk to me." She goes, "I just did 17 greens." I said, "Keep going." No 3 putts today. She had 7 for the first 2 rounds. I had 4 1 putts. I made 4 birdies, 4 1 putts. I just shot 67, 4 under, and she wins by a shot.
Oh my gosh.
Not bad, right?
Yeah.
So we're driving home in the van. I say, "Let's talk about that. How'd that go?" She said, "Incredibly, wicked uncomfortable. I didn't sleep all night. I was exhausted because I didn't sleep. What you told me was so uncomfortable." I said, "Well, how'd it go?" She said, "The first 7 holes, it was very uncomfortable, but something strange happened after the 7th hole." I said, "What's that?" The ball started going in the hole. So what she was doing in the first 2 rounds, which I observed, very aggressive player, 15, 20 feet, run and gun, trying to make birdies, running them 6, 7 feet, 8 feet by, and missing them coming back.
Yep.
So very aggressive. So if I told her, when she asked me, "Can you help me?" If I said to her, "Manage your putts better. Manage your first putts better. Try to 2-putt. Don't be aggressive." Anything like that I would have said, I was confident she would not hear me say. So if I would say to her, "Well, you're 3-putting, you're hitting it 6 feet by on your first putt, just, be happy with 2 putts and manage your putts better." I like to use that term a lot when we're playing, manage your putts. If I said that, knowing the player, she would not have listened to me. She would have kept doing what she's doing. But when I tell her something, this is coaching, the message. What's the message? How do you give? Who's listening? Are they listening? Are they listening is big. Are they listening? So when I give her a message like, when you hit it 3 feet, and I look her in the eye and I say, "You better miss that putt," that is such it's an abrupt message that she's never heard. And she doesn't want to hear that.
Right.
She does not want to hear, "If I hit it in there tight, you want me to miss the putt? Are you kidding me?" That's the message she doesn't want to hear. That's the message she needed to hear. What I was really telling her to do is manage your putts better. I wanted to change that message around a little bit. It's one of my best stories. One of my best stories.
That's incredible. Yeah, kind of reverse psychology.
And she tells me a few weeks later, back to Yale, and your message, "I didn't like the message." Do what I told her? I liked the result.
Yeah.
You shot 67.
She was trying to prove you wrong.
And you don't have to prove me right. It's okay. But we got the job done.
Yeah.
And that was an instance where you've got a real talented player with a lot of skill who's set in her own ways because has learned a method, a way to get to that point, been very successful. But today, it's not working today. And we need to make a change today. And we don't need to make a change tomorrow, next week, because in the middle of competition, the challenge on my end is, can you give the message and have it received? Is she listening to me? When players ask me during a tournament, or most of the time during I'm not playing well, or "Can you help me?" It depends on where they are. If they've been struggling for a long time, the longer they're struggling, the better I like it. Because the more they'll listen to you. I need the player to be really smash that player flat on the ground, no place to go. Mm-hmm. Then we can have a conversation.
Yeah.
But just "Can you help me with my swing in the middle of the tournament?" It's probably not. They're probably not listening. They're probably more concerned with that particular bogey or string of bogeys that they're on. So in coaching, it's the message, but it's when you say it, how you say it. Are they listening? Are they absorbing it? And are they willing to make a change right now? Right now. Mm. It's hard. That's challenging.
It is very hard.
It doesn't always work either. I'm giving you the stories that work.
Mental is, there's a lot of people that have a lot of skill out there, game-wise, but when it comes down to who the best players in the world are, it's the ones who can get get around the golf course and mentally stay focused.
In our golf room, we've got TrackMan, we've got simulator putting. We've got a very nice room. We've got one of our walls is a whole mirror. I think the mirror is a great training aid. You can practice swing. You can hit balls, but you can just practice swing. Look from the side, look from the back, and see your swing. Great way to see your swing and positive memory vibes from that. But one skill that I like to have with a player may be lacking a little self-confidence in themselves. Something I've learned over the years is I'll stand with the player and we'll look in the mirror. And I will say, look in the mirror. Look at your eyes in the mirror. I want the player to look in the mirror and look in their eyes. I'd like you to say out loud, with other players here, I'm a good player. That's hard. That's really hard. But that can tell you a lot. It can tell you a lot about what the player thinks or has doubts about themselves.
Sure.
Now, I'm not coaching that we're going to broadcast to everybody that we're good players and we're best players and all that. But you got to be able to tell that to yourself. You got to at least be able to tell that to yourself in the mirror. I'll encourage players to go home and in the room, the first thing you do at the beginning of the day and the last thing you do, look in the mirror, 5 seconds. You've got to look in your eyes, not head down. Looking at the floor, looking at your feet, look in the mirror and look in your eyes. Can you tell yourself you're a good player?
Yeah.
With a lot of good players, it takes a while.
Yeah, you got to believe.
It takes a while.
You got to believe in yourself.
It's hard to do.
Yeah.
But as a coach, that tells me a lot too. To be able to help them help themselves.
Yeah. No.
It's all about helping yourself. I can't hit the shot. The club's in your hand.
Yeah, that's an interesting way of looking at it because it's just like if you don't believe in yourself, then your game's probably not going to follow. Like you got to have belief that you can go up and hit a shot or, that you're actually hitting a shot with intention, not just getting up there and swinging.
I had a play last year, missed the first 5 greens, missed the first 5 fairways, missed the first 5 greens, made 5 bogeys. Can you help me? Well, let's try it. So we get to the 6th tee. So the next 4 holes, all they said to her on the tee, where do you aim? Aim at the house, the rock, the tree, whatever. Next 4 holes, hits 4 fairways. Hits 4 greens, makes a birdie and 3 pars. Misses the first 5 fairways, misses the first 5 greens. Now she hits the next 4 fairways, next 4 greens, and is 1 under par. That's pretty good, right?
Yeah.
I said, okay, I'll see you later. She says, you didn't help me. I said, no, I did. I helped you help yourself. You have it. You know what to do. You have to just do it. Now you have a choice. Think like you did the first 5 holes, see the traps, see the water, see the woods, see the out of bounds.
Yep.
Or the next 4 holes, all we saw is the tree, the rock, the middle of the fairway. We saw the middle of the green. We didn't talk bunkers and water and we didn't see any of that. We made it real simple. So you have a choice now. I'd like to lay it on them. They've got to put it on them. They've got to be able to do it. But the results are amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I mean, if
and
you can change their way of thinking,
a lot.
Yeah, confidence is a huge thing. Putting especially, like you got to believe you're going to hit the shot, and not worry about is my stroke doing this or that or whatever. But it is U.S. Open week, and I want to learn. I want to hear more about your time at the U.S. Open. So give me
a long time ago, another lifetime ago.
Hey, if you can make it to a U.S. Open, you've accomplished amazing things. So I would love to hear, one, how'd you qualify? How'd you do? Where'd you play?
A little bit different than the right now. These days you qualify 18 holes locally, and then you go to a sectional, play a 36-hole sectional. And in those days, 1980, when I played at Baltusrol, I played 36 holes local in Boston, and then I played 36-hole sectional at Canoe Brook in Summit, New Jersey, down the street from Baltusrol. I played in 33. I entered the U.S. Open 33 times. I made the sectional 3 times, and I made the Open 1 time. So a question that I ask the girls is, well, if I play 33 times and I make the Open once, am I 97% fail, or do I 3% succeed at what I was trying to do?
Glass half full, glass half empty.
Depends how you look at it.
Yep.
And I always wanted to, since 11 years old, I wanted to play in the U.S. Open. I wanted to play in the tour tournament in Boston. I accomplished both. But the U.S. Open, I took time in studying what were the courses that I was going to be playing locally. And I always put a lot of time into that. I learned the scores, study the scores. The scoring is a heck of a lot different now these days. But I put a lot of effort into knowing. I would pick courses which were not putting contests, courses that had narrow fairways, required solid ball striking. That's the kind of course that kind of fit me well. And when I picked the sectional course, although I didn't need it 30 times, but I did need it 3 times, I would pick sectional courses. I would pick sectional courses, the same thing. Courses that were, I didn't care about the length, but I cared that they were narrow, tight golf courses that required good driving. Driving was the strength of my game, to drive the ball in the fairway all day. And so I wanted to go to a golf course where I could make pars, and I thought I would have a good chance of doing that. I went to Canoe Brook in 1980. I made sectionals in 73, 80, and 97. In 80, when I went to Canoe Brook, as soon as I qualified the next day, I drove down to Canoe Brook and I stayed 2 days and played the golf course, played 36 a day for 2 days. I just wanted to know the golf course. And I came back saying to myself, man, I gotta be really good around the greens, chipping and pitching from heavy rough around the greens.
Right.
And so that's what I did when I got home for the next 10 or 12 days in Boston. I put more emphasis on pitching and chipping from heavy rough. That was going to be my go-to shot. I figure I'm going to be missing greens because it's going to be missing greens, and I got to be able to get the ball up and down. That served me well. Although funny that I went there. When I went down there, I think I hit 29 out of 36 greens, which was pretty good. But interesting story. We had a lot of rain and thunderstorms, so we came off the golf course a couple of times. I was playing with 2 tour players at the time.
Yep.
One benefit of going to the sectional, one incentive for me was, God, if you go to the sectional, you're probably going to be playing with a tour player, which is just fabulous.
Yeah.
Being able to play 36 with a tour player, playing for a spot in the U.S. Open. I mean, I actually lived that dream all year. That was my biggest goal in golf, was to be able to go to the sectional. I actually didn't put much emphasis on qualifying and not. But I said, you got a chance to play in the Open with a tour player or a couple of tour players. And what a day that is. And that's what happened at Canoe Brook. Played with a couple of tour players then, and we got called off the course a couple of times.
Yep.
So we only got 32 holes in that first day. Scoring was a lot different then. I only made 1 birdie and 2 bogeys, a 1 over par for 32 holes, and I've only got 3 guys in front of me. And there's like 6 spots, and I'm in good shape.
Yeah.
I'm in good shape. So try to go to bed at night. Try to go to bed that night knowing you got to come back and play 4 holes for a spot in the U.S. Open.
Wow.
Did I sleep that night? I clearly did. I sleep that night? Not a wink. I literally never slept. I stared at the ceiling all night. How could I? Bruce, you've got 4 holes to play. I'm not chasing. I'm in that cut line. I'm in that cut line by a couple of shots.
Yeah.
And I want to play in the U.S. Open. And so it was quite interesting. I made a few bogeys coming out early. I got to the 18th hole. I had a nice drive down the fairway. I'm at the 150 marker. In those days, for me, a 7-iron was my 150 shot.
Yep.
I got so much adrenaline going, I hit 8-iron. Figured I'm going to hit this thing a little further. So I took 8-iron. I knocked it over the green by 20 yards.
Oh, my goodness. You did have a lot of adrenaline.
So much adrenaline. So I went over the balls over the green. I got a terrible downhill lie, no grass, and pins kind of cut with a couple of bunkers in front of the green. And I hit that shot 25 feet from the hole. That's the best shot I ever in golf. Downhill lie off of a bald spot, bunkers in back of the pin. And I'm playing for a spot in the U.S. Open, by the way. And I hit 25 feet, and I putted. I 2 putts. It took me 3 to get down. But, I mean, you could easily do lots of stuff with that kind of shot.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
And so by far the best shot I ever hit under pressure in golf was that. So great pleasure playing in the Open. I played 3 rounds at Baltusrol. I played with a lot of tour players. I did not get assigned tee times. I said I'll just look for openings on the tee as that because I want to try to fit with good players. I played with Jay Haas and Larry Nelson. I played biggest thrill of my life was the day before the tournament. I'm playing with Haas and Nelson. Played with them a couple of days. They were nice enough to let me come back and play another day with them. Yeah. But I'm standing on the 18th green, and all of a sudden, there's a lot of people at the Open on every hole you're practicing and playing. Yeah. But there's this throng, this huge crowd, sea of people converging on the 18th hole, and Haas was kind of laughing. He says, you don't know what's going on, but you'll find out really quick. So it's Palmer coming through the crowd. And he said, hey, you guys mind if I play in with you on 18?
Oh, man.
So one of my two sports heroes, Bobby Orr and Arnold Palmer. Yeah. So here we are on the 18th tee, and I'm playing on the 18th with Palmer. What a thrill. Par 5, I hit it, my third shot, I hit it about, 25 feet. He's got it inside me. I make my putt for birdie. It's a practice round. Yep. My caddy, Jimmy Young, gave me an applause. The only one that gave me applause. The green surrounded by people 10 deep around the green. Palmer 3 putts of him 20 feet, standing, rousing ovation. and Nelson Gamoto, he says, we have to put up with that every week. But you make a birdie but of course the king and all that. So and it was just wonderful in the locker room during the week. Whenever we crossed paths, he actually remembered my name, asked me how I'm doing the term, and it was very encouraging.
Did you make the cut in the Open?
No, I didn't. I shot 77, 84. I missed the cut.
Yeah.
77, I got a 4 over the first day with 2 to play. I finished up double bogey in the 2 par 5s. I actually had a guy throw up on me on my second shot. Kind of distracted me. I drove it on 17 in the light rough on play a 5-wood out of the rough, and the crowd ropes are right on
there.
top of me. As I'm coming down, hit my swing of my second shot. There's a guy standing right here with a couple of beers. He barfs. He actually throws up. And as I'm coming down, there's a stream of vomit. I can't see my...
my God!
I stuffed the ball in the trees. I ended up making 7 of the hole. So I wasn't mad or upset. Just it was.
Yeah.
You don't really prepare for that. And I bogeyed the last hole, so kind of get myself a little bit out of position. I didn't make the cut, but quite fatiguing playing the second day. I wasn't used to all the... You get a lot of attention when you play in the Open. A lot of reporters, radio guys at then, reporters, and certainly was no internet or no social media or anything like that. And people looking for autographs, and doing that for 5 days I didn't realize it's tiring.
It's exhausting.
And if you're not used to it and you don't pace yourself, and it's a little bit challenging the last day. But if I get back to an Arnold Palmer story, I'm 29 years old when I play in the Open. Yep. So I'm going to spin the clock back. When I'm 11 years old, Palmer is playing with Gary Player in an exhibition at South Shore Country Club, just outside of Boston. 2 of them are playing. Palmer's my big hero. I am not more than 2 arm lengths away from Palmer the whole round. Every shot, I am right next to my man Arnie. I'm 11 years old. I'm weaving through crowds. Yeah. And we get to the 18th tee at South Shore. He's playing with Gary. They get to the 18th tee. It's a downhill shot. They hit the tee shots in there. And they're walking down the hill to the par 5. And I said, Bruce, you got to make your move. So I go up to him. He's got his yellow shirt on with his umbrella. Yep. And I'm 11 years old. I grabbed his shirt. I said, Mr. Palmer, my name is Bruce Chalas, and you and I are going to play golf someday. And, he was nice enough and chuckled. This is when I was 11. So Baltusrol, when I'm 29, 18 years later, after we had our tee shots on the last hole, I did go up. I did give him a little tug. I said, Arnie, I got to tell you a story. And I gave him a quick... And he actually, of course, he didn't remember me, but I remember playing Gary in that exhibition. And I said, I told you and I are going to be playing someday. And here we are, you and I are playing someday.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I said, it's you, it's Bobby and me. And he knew what Bobby meant. He was very good about that. He knew I was talking with Bobby Orr, about Bobby Orr. And he got a kick out of that story. And, of course, that was just a lifelong dream.
Oh, yeah.
Not too many years later, I did play in an exhibition, a 2-day exhibition with Bobby Orr. I was lucky enough to be able to play with him for a couple of days, and I've done it with him for a couple of nights. A lot of fun. And I was telling him a story. We're talking about his golf hero was Arnold Palmer. So I kind of tied that Arnold Palmer, Bobby, or Bruce Chalas loop in, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that is great. Well, what an incredible story. Yeah, you always love those stories where you're like, I'm going to play with you one day, and you actually achieve that. Yeah. So congrats on that. Well, it was absolutely fantastic listening to you and listening to your stories. I definitely want to finish up with, one, give us your dates on your golf camps. So how do people learn about your golf camps, and when are they?
Boston University, girlsgolfclinic.com. Boston University, girlsgolfclinic.com. Easy, simple website. We'll give you all the information on the website. Okay. What we accomplish. There's a lot we accomplish in the camps. It's all listed. Looking for schools. How do you talk to the coach? ACTs, writing the letter. It's a whole page of items that we do for the 2 days. So you can find that information on there. The dates of the camp are on there. Also, I do accommodate players with different travel schedules. So if you've got a day or two that fits your schedule, I will accommodate that and meet those dates that you need, so I can custom those dates for you. And appreciate you mentioning that here too.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've had a lot of success. I'm going to say in 12 years of doing the camps, the girls find a home, and they find it home really quick. They've unraveled. And a lot of the girls go to, excellent schools, and they get to play. There's a place to play for everybody, whatever your skill level is. And our main goal is to make sure you're in a good academic institution and you're playing golf and not sitting on the bench. So that's what we strive for. But
I think that's fantastic.
Thank you for.
No, I really do. I think that's fantastic, because a lot of people just go to a school, go to a golf camp, and they're just going for the golf camp.
Well, it's a little challenging, being the big young women too. They go to camps with guys, and there may be 10 or 15 people at the camp. They get drowned out. There's always more guys than women. Yeah. They get the attention. So I limit it to 2. There's no more than 2, but most of the camps are 1. So we go from 8:30 to 4:30. We go 8 hours a day.
And how many days is it?
It's 2-day camp. 2-day camp. So we'll customize it to your dates too. A lot of girls might, if they're playing in the North South, they might stay for a couple of days, or playing in the U.S. Kids, or playing in the area. We might be able to do that. But I run the camps all year round, and my goal is to help you learn the college admission process, so you can find a school where you can succeed academically and be on a golf team and do well.
Okay. Well, that is
too. Thank you.
No, that's great. And then if they are interested in playing at Boston University, would they contact you? What's the best way for a young lady who's aspiring to play college golf?
Just go on the website, Bruce Chalas at gmail.com. Bruce Chalas at gmail.com. You can send me any information that you want at any time. And there are certain dates and restrictions, but after August 1st, we can communicate at anytime you want.
Yep. So August 1st, after their sophomore year.
Right.
But they can they still attend the camp before that?
They can attend the camp anytime they want.
Anytime they want. It does not matter.
The best way, again, whether it's my camp or any camp, the best way to know the coach, to know the schools, to know about college golf and what's required, again, academically in golf, find a camp that coach goes to, and you will be saving an awful lot of time in doing that.
And do you have usually scholarships available every year, or do you
have scholarships available every year?
Okay. All right. Well, that is great to hear. Well, as always, we appreciate you listening. Make sure you go and subscribe. Make sure you like us. If you want to get in touch with Bruce, make sure you reach out to him. If you want to go to one of his camps, absolutely reach out to him. I want to give a huge shout out to Palmetto Clothing out of Greenville, South Carolina. They are a brand new clothing manufacturer. And I got to tell you, they have fantastic clothes. And one of the best things I love about this shirt is the collar. It's they've gotten a stiffness to it, and it's really cut sharp. And so very lightweight, and we can't be happier to wear it on the podcast. And really cool little logo, little subtle patterns. So if you want to check them out, they're at palmettoclothing.com. And again, they're based out of Greenville, South Carolina. So big shout out to those guys. And thanks for the clothing. But until next time, thank you so much for listening. Please come visit us. If you're coming to the Pinehurst area, make sure you check us out. You can book a bay with us, bring over your group. We can host you. Or if you just want to come in and say hello, we'd love to meet you. And obviously, we give lessons as well. So if you're looking for a coach, please reach out. We'll be happy to take a look at your swing, do a TrackMan assessment, and go see if we can get your game in the better direction.
I can tell you, Jeremy, when we're coming down here in the spring at trips with BU, we'd like to be able to come here and spend some time in the facility here.
Absolutely.
The fabulous first-class facility here.
Thank you.
Big bays, wide bays, a lot of hitting area, nice surfaces, all of the technology. And a bright and enthusiastic atmosphere to be able to practice golf. And we like 24/7. Catch a rainy day, or maybe you're practicing 7, 8 o'clock at night after a day of work or whatever. I know I'll be looking forward to coming.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. And hey, we got tournament schedule coming up in Pinehurst. U.S. Kids is coming up. We got the North-South coming up. So if you're coming into town, definitely reach out. And if you got a story to tell, hey, we'd love to have you on the podcast. Hear about your golfing journeys, or if you're a CEO or a celebrity that's going to be in town, hey, come come grace us with your presence. We would love to have you. But until next time, I'm Jeremy Lee. This is Inside the Swing. We'll see you on the tee.